We are members of Vietnam Veterans Against the War, and we bring you greetings and join you in protesting the dangerous Reagan administration policy in Central America and in other parts of the world. As Vietnam veterans, we have seen the effects of this kind of policy at another time in another place, Vietnam. We are here because the pattern is familiar. The rhetoric and the actions of our government in escalating the war in Central America is all too familiar. We don't want our daughters and sons fighting and dying in another Vietnam war, here or anywhere. Since we've been here, we have seen many sons and daughters of Nicaragua who have been made casualties of a war that would not exist without the active participation of our government. We have come to love and respect the Nicaraguan people in the short time that we've been here. While we struggle for decent benefits for all veterans in the United States, our government sees fit to spend millions on another war when it hasn't finished paying for the last unjust and immoral war in Vietnam. 15 years ago, this week, Vietnam Veterans Against the War marched on Washington, D.C. for a limited incursion called Dewey Canyon 3, in which we called for the end to the war in Southeast Asia and called for the return of our brothers from Vietnam, and threw our medals on the steps of our capital. This week in cities across the United States, Chicago, Atlanta, Los Angeles, New York, San Antonio, and others, we will be marching in commemoration of that event. VVAW, as a result of our visit to Nicaragua, rededicate ourselves to continue the struggle to end the war in Central America. Thank you. On behalf of a member of Vietnam Veterans Against the War, out of the New York chapter,
de parte de la Organización de Veteranos contra la Guerra del Departamento de Nueva York,
we'd like to present this religious chalice for Holy Communion.
Queremos presentarle esta copa para la Santa Cena
to this orphanage and to the Padre here, and hope that you will get many uses out of it and keep it forever and use it in good use and keep up the good work that you people are trying to do here.
Para ustedes y para el Padre y para los niños que se encuentran aquí, para que continúen hacia adelante con el buen trabajo que están haciendo ustedes para estos niños lisiados.
Yo recibo este valioso regalo y tan significativo, y en nombre del Padre Fabretto y de su familia toda, yo rindo las gracias a ustedes y les prometemos seguir adelante, luchando por todo esto como veterano de Nicaragua.
He talked to us an hour and a half, went to the vet hospital, saw a lot of the wounded, you know, we talked with the patients, man, talked with the hospital administrators, gave them some gifts, you know. It was a real moving experience for us, you know, because we know kind of like what they're going through, you know. It was good to see the hospital and everything, you know.
Well, they certainly understand the similarities between what happened in Vietnam and what's
happening once we got through the language thing and they knew who we were and what we were trying to do, they were real glad to see us too, you know. You know, just to lift their spirits a little bit, you know, as much as possible. We went through 3 wards, you know. We went through the orthopedic ward and the convalescent ward and, you know, like 3 stages of their treatment, you know. And we got some good film footage and took pictures and, you know, so we're going to use it back in the States, man. We're going to show what the U.S. tax dollar's doing, you know, amputees, stuff like that, you know. We had one interview with a patient, a 13-year-old that got his leg blown off, and his father's in the Army. You know, he was right there. He was about 65 years old. Him and his son joined the Army at the same time, 13 years old. Son's 13. You know, it was pretty moving, you know. We saw some bad scenes there, you know.
Well, I know just on the cooperative where we're staying, you know, these people are so committed to defending their revolution
Oh, yeah.
And we were talking about this earlier this morning, that many of them still don't even know how to read and write, but they are so eloquent in speaking of their commitment. And there's no rhetoric in it. It's just these people understand. They've lived under oppressive government for so many years that over and over again we hear there is no chance of turning back. We will survive. The only way the United States will take our country is to kill every man, woman, and child in the country. And they say it in a very simple, very clear way. It's not any kind of threat. It's not anything other than just they know that this is the truth. And it really hurts. It hurts to see these people who there's so much hope in their faces. You know that they are really in control of their own destiny, and yet they have to continue to fight. It's their everyday life.
Well, basically, I see it, maybe from a biased point of view in that because I'm, have read a lot about it and have talked to people down that have been to Nicaragua and talked to Nicaraguans, that the U.S. policy is aggressive. In a lot of ways, I find the U.S. policy to be racist, inconsistent to other struggles around the world. The policy that they're using against Nicaragua is wrong.
What sort of other countries in the world do you have in mind?
Well, mainly I take the situation like in South Africa. There's a lot of injustice going on in South Africa, and I don't see that strong response from the Reagan administration that I see against the Nicaraguan people. Also, I see, dictatorships that have existed around the world, such as Marcos, who this government supported up until the day he left. VVAW, which they denied that there was anything wrong with Haiti until the day he left. And here we are in Nicaragua, where the people have a desire for this government and this country to live in peace and want to be left alone, and we're trying to twist everybody's arm into supporting a war down here.
What did you feel about the war in Vietnam when you were serving there?
Well, it didn't take me long. Shortly after I got to Vietnam, I saw a lot of injustices about Vietnam. I thought it was wrong, and I came back and I protested the war. But I was doing my duty, so-called duty, and I learned from Vietnam to question. It was the first time that I saw that the government had lied, and that was a rude awakening. And
what was the lie?
Well, the lie was that they fabricated a lot of incidents. They did assassinations of heads of states, and they planted governments into, they propped up governments. I saw that the people weren't what they said the people were. The people really didn't want any foreign domination, and it had been that way for a long time. Hello, my name is Clarence Fitch.
Mi nombre es Clarence Fitch, F-I-T-C-H.
Right, and I live in Jersey City, New Jersey.
Y vivo en Jersey City, New Jersey.
And I am the coordinator of the New York, New Jersey chapter of Vietnam Veterans Against the War.
Y soy el coordinador del capítulo New York, New Jersey de veteranos de Vietnam en contra la guerra.
My campaneros have pretty adequately described why we're here, and I did want to say something about why we're here too.
Mis compañeros me parece han hablado bastante bien sobre las razones por qué estamos aquí, pero yo quiero decir algo más.
Vietnam Veterans Against the War has a long history of trying to end the war in Vietnam, and has supported all the peace movement in trying to end this war in Central America.
El grupo de nosotros tiene una larga historia de lucha en contra de la guerra de Vietnam y en contra de la guerra aquí en Centroamérica.
And one of the other functions of Vietnam Veterans Against the War, especially in the New York, New Jersey chapter,
Y otra cosa que hagamos nosotros, especialmente en el capítulo New York, New Jersey,
is the education program that we have about in the schools, in the high schools.
es el programa de educación que tenemos en las escuelas secundarias ahí.
We do this as an alternative to the heavy military recruiting that's going on in the United States right now.
Lo hagamos como alternativa a el muy pesado campaña de propaganda que están haciendo los militares en Estados Unidos para agarrar a más gente.
We can't compete with the United States military public relations budget.
No podemos hacer competencia a el presupuesto que tiene el ejército norteamericano.
They're advertising for new recruits to come in to the armed forces.
La publicidad que hacen para tener nueva gente en el ejército,
To be used and abused and thrown away as we were.
para ser utilizados, abusados y botados en la basura como fuimos nosotros.
We tried to relate our experiences about Vietnam to the kids, and when we do this, we are not talking about something that's happening now. We're talking about something that happened 10, 15 years ago.
Hacemos eso hablando a la juventud de cosas que suceden en la guerra, y cuando lo hagamos hablamos de lo que nosotros hemos vivido hace 10, 15 años y no de lo que está pasando ahorita.
This trip to Nicaragua has given us something that they can relate to, because they are going to be the ones who may be in those hills up north.
Y este viaje a Nicaragua nos ha brindado unas informaciones a que estos jóvenes pueden tener alguna conexión, porque posiblemente si hay un conflicto aquí en el futuro, ellos serán los que vienen aquí.
We like to try to show the comparison between Vietnam and the war in Central America. We've documented this. We brought it back on films and audio and pictures, and we hope to use it in our educational program in the high schools.
Tratamos siempre de explicar a la gente allá las similaridades que existen entre Vietnam y el conflicto aquí, y pensamos llevar toda la documentación que hemos hecho aquí allá para utilizarlo en las escuelas secundarias allá.
We visited hospitals, government officials. We talked to the man in the street.
Hemos visto hospitales, oficiales del gobierno, hemos hablado con la gente en la calle.
We've seen the results, both physical and mental, of the U.S. war.
Hemos visto los resultados, sean físicos, sean mentales, de la guerra aquí de los Estados Unidos.
We've seen the results of Contra attacks on towns and people.
Hemos visto los resultados de los ataques contra a los pueblos y la gente.
And we were very moved by it.
Y fuimos muy emocionados por ver eso.
Hopefully, when we get back home, we will have a rededication about our commitment of not seeing another Vietnam War take place in Central America.
Esperamos que al regresar allá vamos a tener todavía más compromiso para tratar de evitar otro conflicto como Vietnam aquí en Centroamérica.
We feel we have something to say, just as we said in 1971.
Pensamos que tenemos algo que decir, como lo teníamos en 1971.
And we know for a fact that we helped end another war in another time and place.
Y sabemos como hecho que nosotros contribuimos a parar una guerra en otro lugar, en otro momento.
My personal experience in Vietnam
Mi experiencia personal en Vietnam
gives me every right and patriotic duty to tell the truth and try to show the truth to the American people.
Mike and myself and Clarence will work on it, and I think we'd like Clarence to deliver it.
You'd like Clarence to deliver it?
Yes.
Okay.
What does Clarence think about it?
Clarence would like to deliver it.
I'll deliver it. I'm here for. I'm fired up. I'm like Ron, you know. I really. I mean, that'll make me feel a little better, but I really would like to. You know.
Yeah, we know.
You know, I really
Yeah, we know.
like.
We know. Yeah, okay.
You know, I don't want to. I'd like to go over the wall, really.
I knew it.
Get arrested.
I knew he was.
You know?
I knew he was going to
I
say
want to
it.
get arrested. You know, shit like that. But I know we
Spears in
can't do
charge.
that.
Here we
We
go.
decide now that the option to go in there is not to get anybody arrested. We don't know how much of a hassle it is to get you back out.
I don't think you get arrested for that. I think you get shot for that.